glad to see everyone still being really attentive. And I work at a company called Mimi Hearing Technologies, and previously to that I worked at another small startup from Hamburg called Familia Ned. And I kind of deviated from my original talk a little bit. I'm going to point out a few pain points that I've been experiencing over the last couple of years and what I did to overcome them. First of all, what's Mimi? I guess most of you won't know what it is, which is totally fine, but afterwards you hopefully will. We are building a technology. Currently we have 2 apps on the App Store with which you can take a hearing test with your headphones, just using the app, and then it will give you results. It will give you your audiogram, and you will see like how good or bad your hearing is on certain frequencies. And what you can do then is, if you see it's really bad, maybe check out the closest doctor to you and go there. But if it's not super bad, you can connect, you can use the Mimi Music app and connect it to all your different music sources. So you can connect it to Spotify or to iTunes or to SoundCloud. And then based on your personal hearing profile, we will optimize the music for you. So if you, for example, have issues hearing already, you will definitely be able to hear music better or as you remember it from when you were young. Or if you're not hearing impaired at all, it will also be better sound quality than what you can experience at the moment. Just check it out. I promise you will hear a difference. So we are not only building these apps. What actually the core of our product is the technology of it. And this is a little bit of a roadmap. At the moment, we're also testing the first SDK with different smaller alpha partners. And our dream or our vision is to eventually be implemented with every single company out there that does something with audio. So it can be things like Netflix, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, anything that works with music. We could actually also be implemented on the devices, integrate in the different devices. So just a little overview. If you have more questions about what we do later, just come approach me. I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about it. But enough about Mimi. What I'm actually here to talk about is what I do at Mimi. And what I do is all of which you can see on the screen. Not everything at the same time, because that's kind of impossible, but I look at the user journey every single day. So I look at which campaigns should we run in which countries, how can we increase our onboarding conversion, how do we get people to actually pay and leave money in the app. And the thing with all of these things is that all of this is really familiar, all of you do this, but none of it is actually valuable if you don't have decent analytics. And for that, there's a lot of different tools out there that do really good jobs in their specific fields, or maybe some of them promise you they can do everything for you. Most of them won't be able to do that, but promises are made a lot. And if you're a big company, if you're Runtastic or Delivery Hero and you have a lot of money, you build a growth team, and you have people who are CRM managers and acquisition managers, and you get data analysts and data scientists. If you're a small company like the one that I work at, you are the growth team, or maybe you have 1 or 2 people who work with you, but you kind of have to figure out, how do I get all the data from all the different campaigns and all the different tests that we're running, and how do I waste as little time as possible in first gathering and then analyzing it. And one of the pain points I've been having a lot is that I can just analyzing campaigns across different channels, I feel has been a huge pain. There are a lot of tools which let you, a lot of attribution tools, a lot of analytics tools, which let you track those campaigns, but I've always felt like it's just way more exhausting. It takes way more of my time to actually get all the right data together than it should. Because I feel like the analytics tools are usually not good enough at attribution and vice versa. At the same time, in smaller startups, the money is typically first spent on a tool like Mixpanel or Localytics, which gives you a big overview, and then you spend money maybe on an A/B testing tool or an App Store optimization tool, a CRM tool. But campaign tracking is not really something like real good analysis of campaigns is not really something that people tend to spend a lot of money on, because you can kind of like build your own little dashboards. You can just use, if you run Facebook campaigns, you can use the Facebook interface, distract the data from there. You can use the Google interface, get the data. You can use Just or whatever attribution tool you're using and kind of put everything together. It's possible. It just tends to be a little bit too time consuming. And another thing I realized is building crazy Excel reports is not my strongest suit, and it shouldn't be my strongest suit either. But if you don't have anyone in the company who can create crazy reports for you, which kind of like update themselves all the time with 2 clicks, you kind of tend to get stuck in spending too much time and actually getting the data together before you can actually put time in to just analyze it. And I was thinking that shouldn't be things that I should be looking at. I should just be getting the right data really easily, and I should be focusing on figuring out which tests to run and which campaigns actually to focus at. And like roughly a year ago, a friend of mine introduced me to this San Francisco-based startup called Tenjin, which most of you will probably not have heard of. They don't pay me, I don't work for them, I just really like the tool. That's why I want to show it to you at least a little bit. Because what they told me is they can do all of those things that I've kind of been missing with other tools. They do have great attribution, you have spend and revenue in the tool, you can track all of your events, it's super, super customizable, and you also have a data vault if you want to extract and run your own queries, and it's super affordable. I was like, okay, sounds like I should maybe have a look at it. And I've been using it ever since, and I can recommend all of you to actually check it out. Because what's cool about it is that you have a lot of custom metrics within the dashboard. It's really, really easy to customize the dashboard itself when you just go to tenjin.io and check out all of your data. They have pre-set up metrics, but you can also just create your own. You have things like lifetime value, but you don't only get like CPI and retention rate, and you get things like 7-day cost per retained user, 10-day cost per retained user, 90-day cost per retained user, and 90-day lifetime value. Like there's a huge list of stuff, and you can customize the dashboard directly. Then you have a really great overview of your spend and your in-app revenue and also your ad revenue. So it's really, really easy to look at. If you run a bunch of different lookalike campaigns on Facebook, you just want to spend a minute or so just looking at, okay, which one is actually the one that's most valuable to me, and that can be done via Tenjin just in the dashboard without extracting anything or touching anything. If you do want to extract data, you have a data exporter where you can just build even more customizable reports and just extract it to Excel. Or if that's not enough for you, you can also access the data vault and just run your own queries if you have people who can do it, or if you can just do it yourself. An outcome of like since I started using Tenjin, what it kind of helped me do is focus on the important things and not spending a lot of time building reports, or also making reports accessible to different people. Now I just give them the access to Tenjin, and if they can figure it out, maybe I'll spend some time on helping them out, but typically people actually tend to get everything they need from just me giving them access to the tool. This is still data from my old company, Familia Ned. I think I presented the 2015 numbers here last year. You see, we spent very little money, and we've, over the past year, and I was there until August, so that's the data I can show you, we spent even less money actually. But we managed to decrease our cost per registration even further compared to the previous year. And I think 45 cents per registered user is already quite a good number to be looking at. And we managed to get that down even, and also decrease the cost per retained users intensely. And that's because we can just, now when we were running acquisition campaigns, we could just be much more confident in what we're putting our money into, instead of having to spend a lot of time testing around. So that's the first pain point that I've been experiencing. Another one is something that probably also all of you kind of know a little bit, but is maybe not put a lot of attention to, is how to get your team all the data they need, and how to actually get them to interact with it and use it more than most people do. Because if you want to distribute it internally, typically everyone in their own department only cares about their own data. The social media people care about their social media clicks, developers care about the data that's relevant to them. But I kind of feel it's really important that everyone gets a whole picture of what's going on. And a lot of times that really is not the case. And I'm sure if you just ask a random team member who is not daily working on analyzing app analytics, they will not know a lot about it. I'm fairly confident. And what everyone does is something like this, and it's cool, like have a GeckoBot or a similar tool. I think it's a good way to visualize things, and every startup typically has like 10 monitors next to each other. I swear to you, if at least 80% of the people in my team don't know half of the metrics that are on there, or don't know why they change or what's happening. It's really cool to visualize it, but I think what's important is to actually give a bit more of context and create reports that people actually understand. And some of the things that we do, I kind of started trying to gamify it a little bit, or to just change the data from the form that we typically have it, because I think there's nothing more boring than having a meeting and clicking through Excel sheets and being like, okay, this is what changed compared to the previous week. So, for example, what I do, I put it a lot of times in relation to competitors, if you can access competitor data. If you're looking at downloads, like put it in relation to how does your competitor do, like how are they growing, what's changing there. Or I try to put a monetary value to a lot of things. For example, if I give an update about, let's say, onboarding conversion. Let's say we have 60% of the people who sign up, 60% of the people who download also do a hearing test and create their ear print. That's what we call it. If I tell most of the people won't really, what is 60%? Is that good? Is 100% better? Is 30% good? It's really difficult to kind of make it more tangible. So what I typically do is say, okay, how much does an ear print cost us? And it's quite easy to say, like, oh, in Germany, if we were running a campaign, an ear print would then cost us roughly €5. And if we improve our onboarding conversion by 5%, we will decrease the costs by this and this much. I think that gives people more of an idea what does it actually mean. Because when I told them, okay, an ear print costs us €5, everyone's like, what? But that's so expensive. I'm like, yeah, but if we increase the onboarding conversion, it will not be as expensive. So let's focus on that. And I think that's something that's really beneficial. I also tend to give little timelines, like if we running certain campaigns and we're planning on running them for a certain period of time, I always try to visualize it in a way by saying how quickly will we reach certain targets. So if we continue growing like this, by May it means we will hit 10 million users. We don't have 10 million users, but just a random number. So always trying to find ways to make it more tangible for people. And I find it's been really, really successful inside of Mimi, at least, because a lot more people now have an idea of what's actually going on inside of our app. Another thing that we do, it's also a small startup here from Berlin, they're called Last Mile. I don't know if you've heard of them. They build bots, a lot of different bots that they build for different areas. And we tested really early with them last year when they were building a data bot for Slack. And that's also something that's super customizable. People can just decide how often they want to get a report. They can get them daily, or get them weekly, you can get only the revenues, or you can just only get the download data. Everyone can kind of customize it. And still, not everyone will look at it, but typically if you push something via Slack, everyone's on Slack all day, at least in our company. And that might be something that you tend to look at in more detail, especially if it also sends you all the data that's valuable to you. Lastly, what we built with Familia Ned, I'm not sure if I can open it here, no? Doesn't, yeah, if you can click on the link, do it. If not, it's fine. I know that also different boards also have means of building maps for you, but that wasn't real time enough for us. With Familia Ned, we have a lot of different check-ins by people every day, all the time, and so we built this little map. If you go to map.familia.net at some point, you will see in real time what it means, what the activity level actually is, and we have a little bit of data next to it. That also helped for people to understand which markets we're actually big at and what's the activity level at a certain time and stuff like that. It's also just a small gimmick, but it definitely helped a lot in terms of making it more accessible to people. Nah. Yeah. So yeah, if you have more questions later, feel free to approach me. If you've experienced similar issues in terms of user acquisition and tracking in that area, please also come talk to me. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys, what your experiences are and what you use in those fields. And and also everything related to Mimi, please come and talk to me later. Thanks a lot.